Hello and welcome to That's a Wrap, a roundup of movie news from the past week. I'm Joe Kohle, joining you from the Pix11 Streaming Center. Here is what we are working on for you today. I will be joined by writer and podcaster for the Entertainment Awards website Next Best Picture, Gio Lago. We will discuss Paramount Skydance chairman and CEO David Ellison voicing a commitment for the company to release movies in theaters following the news that it is set to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. We will also share our thoughts on a report that revealed a Game of Thrones movie is in the works at Warner Brothers Discovery. And later, we will break down the results from the 32nd Annual Actor Awards and posit what they could mean for the Oscars. And we will wrap things up with what to watch. This week, we are highlighting the new film, The Bride, which is in theaters now. So let's now bring in writer and podcaster for Next Best Picture, Gio Lago. Gio, thank you for joining us again. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be back.
Yeah, so let's begin with Paramount Skydance chairman and CEO David Ellison voicing a commitment to theatrical films. This comes after Paramount Skydance and Warner Brothers Discovery announced last week that they have entered a definitive merger agreement under which Paramount will acquire WBD. During a call with Wall Street on Monday, Ellison pledged to release 30 films theatrically once the merger happens. He said, quote, "We are committed to delivering a broad pipeline of high-quality storytelling, including 15 theatrical films per year per studio, for a total of at least 30 films annually." Ellison also said that films from the combined company will receive a full theatrical release with a 45-day theatrical window before they go to premium video on demand and streaming platforms. So Ellison seems to be attempting to suggest that the merger will be good for the theatrical movie-going experience and business. However, on a recent episode of the podcast, The Big Picture, host Sean Fennessy argued, quote, "There is no good outcome in this sale. The history of Hollywood studio mergers and acquisitions is littered with creative roadkill. These deals often shrink the number of people who will get to work in the movie business. They tend to favor corporate synergies over creative risk-taking. In an already shrinking marketplace for American studio movies, we will likely get less from this merger." So, Gio, I just want to focus on what this merger could mean for movies. What do you think it means for the future of cinema?
I mean, I don't think anyone doubted in terms of what Paramount would be doing if they took over Warner Brothers in the theatrical window. I think that was more of a concern for Netflix, albeit that's not how their platform works. I think the more concern is kind of like what you mentioned, what Fennessy was saying on Big Picture. It's going to be pretty detrimental to the film industry once, the layoffs start happening, which are all but inevitable. There's going to be far less creative risk. There's going to be far less opportunities for people trying to break into the industry or people who have been in the industry trying to get to the next level. I think that it's not good. Either way, whether it was Netflix or this, it's not good. I mean, we're getting confirmed that films will be in theaters. Besides that, it's not really anything to look forward to, especially with where Ellison's alliances seem to align and how this deal came through and what that means in terms of what films, shows, and everything they're going to produce, especially when they are taking over many important institutions in the industry. Something like HBO, which is like the king of premium cable, is something that's going to be altered. I'm curious to see how they cater their content in terms of films. We've already seen that Trump wants Rush Hour 4. We're getting Rush Hour 4. We're hiring Max Landis to write a G.I. Joe movie, even though we have Dana McBride writing a G.I. Joe movie, and then they're just going to morph the scripts together. If that's any indication of what the future holds, these next few years are going to be really bad. And it's going to be a couple years till we start really seeing the ramifications of this merger actually go through.
Yeah, so Ellison also spoke about the different ways movies in theaters and movies on streaming platforms resonate culturally and how Top Gun Maverick became a cultural phenomenon. He said, "We released The Adam Project on Netflix, which at the time of its release was the most successful film on Netflix, but Top Gun really did have a different cultural resonance." He went on to say, "We really believe that movies should be seen in theaters, and we still believe that's one of the most significant places that you can really create a long-term intellectual property." I like the first part of that sentence, that he believes movies should be seen in theaters, but this statement and several past statements from Ellison suggest he has a heavy focus on IP and franchises when it comes to movies. I like those
Yeah.
types of films, and I think there is a place for them, but it makes me worried for the future of original movies that aren't based on existing IP or projects that plan to be standalone films. Fennessy also said on the Big Picture, quote, "The sensational run that Warner Brothers Films has been under with Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy running the show will likely be halted by this changing of ownership." Michael
Hmm.
DeLuca and Pamela Abdy are co-chairs and CEOs of Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group. In 2025, under DeLuca and Abdy, Warner Brothers' slate of films grossed more than $4 billion at the box office. Warner Brothers led all studios with 30 Oscar nominations, tying the studio's own record set in 2020. When was that? This 2005. I wrote the wrong date, but I think it's 2005. They have the two best picture frontrunners, One Battle After Another and Sinners.
Hmm.
F1, which was also nominated for Best Picture, was produced and financed by Apple Studios, but it was distributed and marketed by Warner Brothers worldwide. No domestic distributor has earned 3 Best Picture nominees since Paramount Pictures 51 years ago. Some other films from Warner Brothers in 2025 include a Minecraft movie, Superman and Weapons. In October, DeLuca and Abdy re-upped their deals with Warner Brothers. On Wednesday, Variety published an article titled "Burning Questions for Paramount's Warner Brothers Deal." In this piece, the question was raised, will David Ellison allow DeLuca and Abdy to operate as an island, or will he put too much layers of authority over them, making it
Hmm.
hard for them to stick around? So, Gio, what would it mean for movies, and more specifically, movies at Warner Brothers, if the answer to that first question, will David Ellison allow DeLuca and Abdy to operate as a separate island? What if the answer to that question is no?
It's very bad. And I've actually been thinking about this because, they allow filmmakers to take risks. They understand the perfect balance of for every Minecraft movie that we know this is going to be a commercial success and plays to a certain audience and probably is not great, but it does enough revenue studio that allows us grace to fund things like One Battle After Another or The Bride, which just came out. I feel though, and it gets as bad as we think it is, and Ellison is not allowing them to do their thing, and that would be the easiest, smartest thing to do is just leave them alone, let them work, let them continue what they have done at Warner Brothers. I've had the sneaky suspicion that if they leave, the most logical landing place, and I feel this could happen because the cynic in me, Universal. Someone that, Donna Langley, who's running Universal, pulls the sweep after nabbing Nolan after Warner Brothers, turned him off after Date and Date streaming and pulls someone like those two. That would turn Universal, I think, into what would be a safe haven for filmmakers in this industry where they care about artists first. So that's what I feel is a sneaking suspicion. If things really do get to the worst case scenario, time will tell. But I feel that right now, Ellison's best plan of attack is just leave it alone. Don't touch anything.
Yeah, so we will see what happens. But speaking of Warner Brothers, a Game of Thrones movie
Yeah.
is in the works at the studio. Page Six Hollywood was the first to report the news. The outlet says House of Cards showrunner and Andor writer Beau Willimon has submitted a draft for the film's screenplay. However, it also says that it's unclear whether the movie will actually be made because of a Paramount Skydance potentially acquiring Warner Brothers, and that if the merger is approved, new management could scrap movies that are in development.
Mm-hmm.
Plot details have not been confirmed, but the story would reportedly follow the founder of the Targaryen dynasty, Aegon the First.
His conquest.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
conquest of Westeros, which takes place a few centuries before the original Game of Thrones HBO series. Gio,
Mm-hmm.
how would you feel about one of television's most popular franchises coming to the big screen?
Honestly, I could care. I'm not the biggest Game of Thrones guy like that. Like I watched the series since it first started, and I felt as burnt out by the end of that series as most people did. House of the Dragon hasn't reclaimed that same feeling I once had. I did enjoy Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Yeah, it was a refreshing like palate cleanser to Game of Thrones. I don't think it was perfect, but more of like what I would watch in this universe currently. That being said, Aegon's Conquest film, Beau Wilmot is, his work on Andor is fantastic. And I think, in a post Kevin Spacey world, really tainted just the mentioning of House of Cards and the work he did there, because that House of Cards was the series that helped launch streaming television. That was Netflix's first television flagship series, and it's fantastic, at least for the original run and what Mo did. So, I mean, it's in good hands. I feel this is a project that would survive a merger. You know, you were mentioning earlier, very focused on IP. What else is IP but Game of Thrones? Something that people will tune in. So I don't know if I'm gonna be like clamoring for it, but I mean I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna be saying that I'm the most enthused human for it.
Yeah. So the internet seems to be very excited. There's already a lot of like fan casting going on for Aegon. People are hoping like Henry Cavill and
Oh,
throwing a lot of other names out there.
oh
Although
Lord.
apparently in the lore of Game of Thrones, Aegon was 27 or something like that when he conquered Westeros. So
Yeah.
Henry Cavill might be a little bit old. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. But so let's now move on to Netflix, who was originally set to acquire Warner Brothers after reaching a deal with the studio in December. But after WBD said that it had determined a proposal from Paramount was superior, Netflix declined to raise its offer and backed away from its deal to acquire the studio. But Netflix is continuing with some other business and has set a first look streaming deal with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's company Artists Equity. It is a multi-year production and distribution agreement that will allow Artists Equity to be in charge of creative and production for its movies that stream on Netflix. Artist Equity also has a theatrical feature film agreement with Sony Pictures, under which the company develops and produces theatrical films that Sony will distribute globally. Gio, I think that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are two of our best movie stars. They, of course, are also filmmakers producing movies through this company. They have written films together. Ben Affleck has had incredible success as a director. What do you think this deal with Netflix means for the future of their careers as filmmakers and as actors?
I think, as actors, I don't know if will be anything that will blow our minds, but I mean, in terms of what they are trying to achieve with artist equity and giving a lot of people below the line their equal share of the work, cinematographers, production designers, is really game changing. It's a big deal, especially with Netflix, which is one of the biggest names in this industry. I feel that this is a nice step moving forward. We'll see how many of these projects actually come to fruition and how, in terms of these people in the different production departments getting their fair shares plays when it's not in theaters and residuals and it's on streaming. I think that was a big deal of it. Like something like Air, which Artist Equity first made, everyone on their part was getting enough of their own. And it made money to a degree in theaters. Streaming is quite different in terms of what we gauge as what is a success, what a company like Netflix would even tell us. So we'll have to see. But, pretty ambitious stuff from, two of our most beloved Bostonian movie stars.
Yeah, so this deal comes shortly after the release of Artist Equity's Netflix film, The Rip, which premiered on January 16th, spent 3 weeks at #1 on the streamer's global weekly top 10 chart, amassing 112.3 million views over 6 weeks. I just want Ben Affleck and Matt Damon to keep making movies together. If some are in theaters and some are on Netflix, I think I'm fine with that because either way, I think I will probably enjoy them. But we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, Gio and I will do a recap of the Actor Awards and discuss what the results could mean for the Oscars. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm still here with Gio Lago, writer and podcaster for Next Best Picture. Last week, I was joined by the owner and editor-in-chief of Next Best Picture, Matt Neglia, who shared his predictions for the 32nd Annual Actor Awards presented by SAG-AFTRA. And today, I want to do a recap of some of the big winners, discuss what they could mean for the Oscars. Let's begin with Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Supporting Role. Sean Penn won for his performance in One Battle After Another. The win came a week after Penn won Best Actor in a Supporting Role at the British Academy Film Awards. His win at the BAFTAs was considered a surprise, and he had previously lost at the Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice Awards, and most other precursors. Although he was named Best Supporting Actor by a few critics groups, Stellan Skarsgård has been considered a frontrunner in the Best Supporting Actor race throughout the award season. He won the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor. Many had thought that he would win the BAFTA. Although Best Supporting Actor has had a lot of twists and turns in the past few months. Jacob Elordi won at the Critics' Choice Awards. Benicio del Toro picked up wins from 3 of the 4 so-called Big Four critics groups. So this category has been seen as one that has been among the most competitive and unpredictable of the season. But now, according to betting markets and many awards pundits, Penn is a strong favorite to win Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars. Gio, if Sean Penn does win the Oscar, it would be his 3rd after previously winning for Mystic River and Milk. Do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, it's done. It's the BAFTA SAG combination's too strong. It's a movie that's most likely winning Best Picture. He's in. I think the only chance we would have been a bit up in the air on Oscar night would have been if someone like Benicio del Toro won SAG, which didn't happen. I mean, he's got support of the actors branch and also BAFTA, which has the largest overlap of Academy voters and a lot of international voters. And it was just a performance that earlier in the year, everyone was like, this is going to win. And he just has been quiet the whole year. Sean Penn doesn't campaign. Sean Penn doesn't do speeches. He smokes cigarettes inside the Golden Globes. He doesn't care. Like, he's given away his 2 Oscars. And people at the end of the day just defaulted. They're like, no, we like this performance.
Do you think he shows up at the Oscars?
I think he will. I'm ready to hear either one of the worst speeches of the night or a Joe Pesci like thank you and walks off and then he donates it or buries it somewhere. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, it's his.
So, I mean, the other 4 nominees, Stellan Skarsgård, Delroy Lindo, Jacob Elordi, and Benicio del Toro. Who, if you had to pick one, who do you think would be the most likely to upset Sean Penn?
Maybe Delroy, because he is someone that is the love of sinners. He's someone that is very respected in the industry. His nomination was a shock. We haven't really seen him pop up anywhere. He wasn't nominated for any precursors, so we don't really know how strong he is compared to others. If Sinners was having its absolute day and winning Best Picture, Delroy could come along. I personally don't see it.
All right, so let's now discuss Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Supporting Role. Amy Madigan won for her performance in Weapons. Just like the Best Supporting Actor race, Best Supporting Actress has been one of the most competitive and unpredictable categories of the season. Amy Madigan's win at the Actor Awards has made it even more so, and now because Penn is seen as a strong favorite, I think this category should probably be considered the one where the outcome is the most uncertain of the 4 acting categories. Madigan also won at the Critics' Choice Awards, Tiana Taylor won at the Golden Globes, and Wunmi Mosaku won at the BAFTAs. Elle Fanning and Inga Ipstadter-Lilius are also nominated at the Oscars in the Best Supporting Actress category for their performances in Sentimental Value. But it seems like the race is between Madigan, Taylor, and Mosaku. Gio, are you predicting one of these 3 as the winner at the Oscars?
I mean, one of those 3 will be the winner at the Oscars. Who do I have at the moment? I cannot tell you. It is a very heated race. I mean, there is a lot of passion for Amy Madigan. Yeah, that's a performance that young people dig the movie. Older voters really like Amy Madigan. She's a very respected actor in the industry, and maybe, just maybe, that's enough to overcome a very genre bias that the Academy is known to having, because it's an incredibly out there performance. I mean, on Gladys the Witch as a possible Oscar-winning role is wild. I mean, SAG was a big win for her. CCA, I don't know if I can pull the trigger. If she wins, I wouldn't be like shocked, but Wunmi Mosaku's still in there because of Sinners. She won BAFTA, but I'm starting to think more so if that was just purely because she's British. She's won a BAFTA before. They're kind of representing one of their own. Tiana Taylor is still in the hunt, although she only has Globes, which is mainly a critics group and not,
award show.
Yeah, not an industry award technically with like voter overlap. But I mean, One Battle After Another is really big movie, and that's a very big performance. And Wunmi Mosaku, I love in Sinners. It doesn't feel like an Oscar-winning performance. But also, I would have even never nominated personally Amy Madigan, and here she are possibly winning. So it's a throw a dart, whatever you feel. If you think Sinners wins Best Picture, I think you have to predict Wunmi Masaku. If you think, One Battle can still win Picture without Tiana Taylor winning, maybe it is just Amy Madigan. It is pure chaos. Probably the toughest race of the night.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't really know. I think the odds on Gold Derby is it's like neck and neck, the way they have it right now. So yeah, let's move on to outstanding performance by male actor in a leading role. Michael B. Jordan won for his performance in Sinners. The win was considered to be a surprise by many. Although last week Matt Neglia did predict on this show that he would win. Timothée Chalamet was widely seen as the favorite to win for his performance in Marty Supreme. According to betting markets and many awards pundits, Chalamet has been the frontrunner in the Best Actor race throughout the award season. Chalamet won at the Critics' Choice Awards. He won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Comedy, or Musical. Although his momentum started to wane after he did not win the Best Actor prize at the BAFTA, he lost to Robert Aramayo, star of the film I Swear. As I mentioned last week, Aramayo was not nominated at the Actor Awards, is not nominated at the Oscars because I Swear does not open in the U.S. until April 24th of this year. Chalamet's loss at the BAFTAs definitely made the Best Actor race more interesting, but because Aramayo is not nominated at the Oscars, some thought him winning didn't really mean anything for Chalamet's chances to win the Oscar. But with MBJ's win at the Actor Awards, this category is now very interesting and probably more up in the air than the Best Supporting Actor race, which, as I mentioned throughout the season, was viewed as the acting category that was the most wide open. But that's why award season is so interesting. A lot can change. Gio, after MBJ's win at the Actor Awards, his odds to win Best Actor at the Oscars have skyrocketed. Sites like Kalshi and Polymarket still have Chalamet as the slight favorite. Many awards pundits are also now picking Michael B. Jordan to win. Who do you think will take home Best Actor at the Oscars on March 15th?
It's tough. I think each day I'm starting to grow a bit more in line with Michael B. Jordan. And I don't think it's the best performance. I think it's a very cool nomination. I think if you think through the lens of what Sinners is, if you think of, I can already see the tweets and the images of Coogler and Michael B. Jordan together filming Fruitville, and then flash forward 2026, they're holding their Oscars together. It's just one of those storybook things that, frankly, this is the best Michael B. Jordan's ever been. Possibly the best you ever will be. He's someone I think this is better than Fruitville. And this is frankly when he's not working with Coogler, I don't think he's as fascinating as an actor. But when he is with Coogler, they just fundamentally get each other and bring the best out of each other. The SAG one, I felt makes sense. I didn't predict it, but I always expected Sinners to win Best Ensemble. Spoilers for when we get to that conversation. It wasn't a shock, but it is still, again, Amy Madigan. It's a interesting performance. If it wins the Oscar, you can't really compare it to anything. And I still don't know if I want to it's just the Timothy favoritism I have, because I think the work in Marty Supreme is just otherworldly. And I still think maybe that applies more to international voters who will dig it. Sinners is a very American thing. It's going to be neck and neck, but each day I'm slowly growing in favor of Michael B. Jordan, unfortunately. I just think we're going to have to accept that Chalamet is going to be given an Oscar in his 40s for a performance that is just going to be fine. And, he's just going to be up there with Cruise and Magnolia, or Pacino and Dog Day, or Denzel and Malcolm X as these great performances delivered by actors that they just were no. And you're just going to have to live with it.
Yeah, so no one has won the Oscar for Best Actor with only an Actor Award precursor win, which applies to Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, I think you actually made me aware of that. Timothy has won just the Critics' Choice Awards and the Golden Globes. I read that only once has somebody won the Oscar for Best Actor after winning at the Golden Globes and Critics' Choice Awards, but not at the BAFTAs or the Actor Awards, and that was Sean Penn for Mystic River in 2004. I also read that no one has won an Oscar with only a Golden Globe Award precursor win, which applies this year to Wagner Moura. His only win at the 4 main film award precursors was the Golden Globe for Best Actor, Motion Picture Drama. Leonardo DiCaprio and Ethan Hawke have not won at any of those precursors, so no matter who wins, this win will be historic, pretty historic, and virtually unprecedented.
Deal. Yeah.
So it's a crazy race all of a sudden, because I don't think anyone was talking about Michael B. Jordan a few weeks ago as like the favorite.
As a winner, no, because especially one thing people aren't mentioning that I will at least admit, behind Chalamet in terms of the critic circles, Michael B. Jordan was the number 2 awarded actor in terms of like critic circles pre-televised awards. Yeah. So people do like the performance. And I think mainly it's just the strength of Sinners as a whole that's making me want to like check Michael B. Jordan as my prediction, because that movie is just so beloved that it's liked more than Marty. Like, I love Marty Supreme, but like that's a movie that like they're going to give the nominations. But if Timothy isn't winning, it's not winning anything else. It's never been in contention for anything else.
Yeah. Okay, so we are not going to discuss outstanding performance by a female actor in a leading role, which Jessie Buckley won for her performance.
Congrats on your Oscar.
She is largely considered to be the only true lock to win at the Oscars in the 4 acting categories. I don't think there's much to discuss. Gold Derby's odds give her like a 96% chance to win. Yeah. So let's finish with outstanding performance by a cast in a motion picture. Like you said, the winner was Sinners. Last week, I asked Matt Negley if any other film, or if any film other than Sinners or One Battle After Another, had any real chance of winning in this category. Best Picture at the Oscars is widely seen as a race between these 2 films. Gio, who do you think will take home the top prize on Hollywood's biggest night?
It's One Battle After Another still. I think that... Sure, there is momentum. I'm not going to say it's like a blowout. It's a close race now. It's very much Sinners is up there. Sinners might be one of the biggest second place films ever. I mean, the same could be said of One Battle hypothetically if it loses, in terms of how many Oscars each film is going to win to lose out. The thing with Sinners is that winning SAG was always expected. I think after I saw that movie, I was like, yeah, that's a SAG Ensemble winner. There's plenty of times where the SAG Ensemble winner doesn't win Best Picture. I mean, last year was Conclave.
I think it was 11 of the last 20 years, the SAG winner won Best Picture, where I think it was 15 of the last 20 years, PGA won Best Picture. So PGA. I
think the thing is with PGA, like if the Sinners love, like this is a movie that has been adored since it came out. People have been talking about it since last March. I don't get where this last momentum sweep for it to win Best Pictures come from. Like it's some underdog. It's been a heavyweight this whole time. I needed it to win something else. Why didn't it win PGA, where they use a preferential ballot? And also it's a film that equally was a success as One Battle, and also incredibly popular, and people from both critics and industry love it. It didn't win. And frankly, it's won only SAG. It's gonna win a WGA just like One Battle will, and it won Ace. Unless it's flipping like big wins on Oscar night, like it steals cinematography, it steals editing, it steals sound, or something like that, or it gets multiple acting wins. I don't see it. Like again, I maintain my stance. If One Battle is winning director, adapted, editing, cinematography, supporting actor, how's it not winning picture? And it's PTA. The PTA of it all, I'm sorry, they are going to glaze. He is, again, someone who's never had a Best Picture winner and has never won. And I don't think it's going to be a split as that. And also, a film that performed very strong internationally. One Battle made far more money overseas than domestic compared to Sinners. Sinners is a very American thing that didn't do well overseas. And when you have a large amount of Academy voters that are international, I do think that will clash with the actors branch that is the biggest voting body in the Academy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be One Battle too. Any chance for an F1 upset?
Oh yeah, definitely, guys. Lock it in. Go on Cal Sheet. This is it.
All right, so
you want to make money.
We're gonna take another quick break. Coming up, a new movie to watch in theaters this weekend is The Bride. Gio and I have both seen it. We will both share our thoughts on the film. That's after a quick break. Welcome back. Writer and podcaster for Next Best Picture, Gio Lago, is still here with us. It's time now for What to Watch, where we put the spotlight on movies hitting both theaters and streamers. Today we are highlighting The Bride, the film officially released in theaters today. Gio, let's get right to it. You have seen The Bride. What did you think of the movie?
Oh, I did not like it. Not a fan. It's a movie that has been a mixture of interesting parts that are just like Frankenstein that are mishmashed together. I can't tell whether I think some of Maggie Gyllenhaal's aspirations for it are whiffing, or it is also a film that was very much torn apart by editing by committee from the studio. It's interesting that it exists. We talked about Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca.
Took a big
very
swing.
much. Yeah, they are the only producers I think that would allow a film like this to even come out, let alone this time, which has turned into a slot where movies can kind of have a really great success mark early in the year. And then, Jesse Buckley and Christian Bale, they're acting. I don't know if I would say it was good, but it's capital A acting. I was never bored. I'm quite enveloped by what they were doing. I don't know if it was good. And there's just a lot of moving parts in it that just don't add up. I was baffled by what I saw, especially as someone who really adored The Lost Daughter. I thought was an incredibly assured directorial debut. It was very intimate, very tightly wounded. Here, Maggie Gyllenhaal's just trying to do a lot. Yeah. At least, Jake Gyllenhaal is a song and dance man in it, and I was entertained until I realized he's not tap dancing, and then I'm like, oh, that's a shame.
Was there anything about the film that you did enjoy? The look of it?
I mean, the aesthetic's cool, but it's just going for Joker again, to put the point where Lauren Shearer is shooting the film and Hilda Gudentier is, doing the score for the movie. It's clear that Warner Brothers is revamping up Joker again, but with a different IP. And it's very little that I did appreciate of it, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, this is Maggie Gyllenhaal's second film as a writer-director. Her first film was The Lost Daughter, which released in 2021. I watched that film for the first time this week, and I really enjoyed it. As you said, you did as well. The movie received an incredible response from critics when it was released, an incredibly positive response. It was nominated for 3 Oscars. I know they are very different movies, but yeah, you kind of touched on it. But what did you enjoy about The Lost Daughter that you think is missing in The Bride?
I don't know if it had a better sense of what it was trying to say. I think when I watched The Bride, very immediately, it's setting up a film logic to it that it does not abide by whatsoever, to the point where I don't claim to be someone who's that smart. And I was leaning over to my friend asking, what the hell am I watching? What's going on? I don't know. I can't. There's a dance sequence in the film that you all know, and just the everything that's transpiring into it, I'm just I have no idea until the very end credits, the final Neil drop. It was just the most eye roll inducing thing ever. I was okay, yeah, we get it.
Yeah. So The Lost Daughter, as you mentioned, it kind of really put Gyllenhaal on the map as someone who could have a great career as a filmmaker. Some may argue that The Bride is now a bit of a step back, as the film is receiving mixed reviews from critics. It has not turned out to be the critical success that The Lost Daughter was. That may not be something that Maggie Gyllenhaal cares about. She may not view success in those terms when it comes to this movie, when it comes to making movies in general. But because of how much I enjoyed The Lost Daughter, and because she seems like a filmmaker who has a desire to take big swings, I will definitely be interested in watching the next movie that she makes.
For sure.
Even though I didn't fully click with The Bride, I think that there is still a lot of potential in her future as a filmmaker.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely all in on what she does. I mean, name a filmmaker that, doesn't have a bad movie at least once in their filmography. It happens, you take the lessons from it and then you move on.
Yeah. All right, Gio, I think that's all the time we have. I really appreciate you joining us. Let's have you back on again soon, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, sounds great. Thank you.
All right, buddy. That does it for today's edition of That's a Wrap. Stay tuned for more on Pix11 Plus throughout the night. I'm Joe Kohle. Thank you for watching.